Okay, right, okay, so Hazbin Hotel. All right, fine. Okay. I'll watch it. Fine. So yeah, you people, you nagged me into. No one nagged me into it. I got curious. Is what happened. I got curious, and I wasn't curious when Hazbin Hotel first went viral back in. When the fuck was that? 4 years ago. 4 years ago, it went viral, and I just wasn't catching it. Like whatever. Like I just did not catch the thing, and I think I know why. It's because it's. Well, here's the thing. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's called. There is a particular style. There's a particular aesthetic sensibility that if you were a freelance artist in the 2010 to 2020 era, you know that art, that aesthetic. You know that sensibility because like you've drawn commissions of people's OCs who are designed with that particular aesthetic in mind. I don't know that it has a name. I don't know that there's any kind of formal definition for it, but it's I guess you could call it weird Tumblr girl aesthetic, except it's not actually gendered. Well, it is gendered in the sense that like cis straight dudes tended to be more phobic of it than any other group, but it's like anything you could find on like Invader Zim and like 2000s sort of hyper stylized Cartoon Network cartoons like Samurai Jack and the Powerpuff Girls and the Teen Titans cartoon, like any cartoon that employed like a really sharp, super flat, highly stylized, like Danny Phantom, I think is in there, mixed with like a sort of Tim Burton decorativist aesthetic sensibility, where like you get lots of patterns, you get lots of like repeated shapes and stripes and shit all over everything. A lot of sparkle, like influences from furry communities, with like the sparkle dog OC thing, with just like you pile details onto a character with lots of sparkles and lots of decoration on them, and then like Onceler fandom shit, like early stages of the Undertale fandom, anything you'd find in a Hot Topic t-shirt basically back then, like all of that shit sort of mixed and put into the pressure cooker that is like late 2000s, early 2010s Tumblr. It's like that kind of a thing, right? And I back when I was a commission artist for a living, making no fucking money whatsoever. God, I was poor. Well, it's not poor in the official definition of the term. I've never been poor. I do not ever claim to have been poor, but I was fucking broke, is what I was. I did a bunch of commissions of art of OCs and like characters who were made in this style, right? Like, so I got very familiar with it from sort of an outside perspective, and I developed some kind of. I got a little annoyed at it because like it's a style that has a lot of design tropes and like a lot of sort of repeated motifs and stuff, and I just got tired of it, and I started to it was also because I was really resentful of how broke I fucking was at the time. Like I had a lot of negative feelings from that time, and some of that got projected onto this kind of a thing, like this kind of a style sort of reminds me of the bad times. And so I've always had kind of a sort of a instinctual negative and unfair negative reaction to it. That sort of meant, all of this to say, Hazbin Hotel passed me by. And now that the A24 Amazon Prime thing is out, and now that this is no longer a scrappy indie success born of the internet, but like an actual industry fucking mainstream thing, which it is, by the way. Like, I've seen some people claiming that Hazbin Hotel is still indie. No, you can't be distributed by Amazon and A24 and still call yourself indie. I'm sorry, that's not how it works. But now that it is like one of the big successes of independent animation in recent years, and I just haven't watched it, I haven't engaged with it, it feels like a real hole in my knowledge. And it's a hole I should probably do something about. So, join me, will you not, while we do something about my hole. I'm sorry, I saw the joke and I had to take it. And I've looked around at the other reaction channels online who do this kind of thing, and I found like some with like 1 million subscribers easy, which, Jesus fucking Christ, which just like when they do their reaction to the Hazbin Hotel pilot, they just put the whole thing up on screen. They don't edit anything, which I assume means that they're not getting copyright claimed all to fuck. So I'm taking the risk, and I'm doing that as well. Not taking that risk with the A24 show, because I want to watch the pilot, and I want to watch like at least the first maybe 1 or 2 episodes of the A24 show and see how it develops, right? Like, see how much money has changed the show and like the ways in which it's been refined in the 4 years since the pilot was put out. Like, because presumably like the team behind it, Spindle Horse, have gone through some serious creative realignment and like a stringent editing process since then. And I'm kind of curious, but like I'm really curious to see like what parts of the pilot survives, like what kinds of parts of the aesthetic sensibility and like what parts of the art style and the character design, so like how much of that survives and how much changes once it comes under, like once it enters into the machinery of like the mainstream animation industry, which indeed it has entered into, since now there's been articles out about like how Spindlehorse has like less than ideal working conditions. As far as I can tell, it's nothing worse than the general animation industry, but that's a low bar because the general animation industry is trash garbage, terrible, really kind of bad. So anyway, all of this to say, I got curious. I want to watch the pilot. I want to see how it feels. So join me, won't you, as we watch the pilot of Hazbin Hotel and then eventually the A24 show, a couple of episodes of that. Maybe all of it. Who knows? Maybe I'll be a fan by the end of this. That would be fun. So let's take a look.
At the end of the rainbow, there's happiness.
No subtitles. Oh.
And to find it, how often I've tried. But my life is a race, just a wild goose chase.
Okay, so interesting. So like again, this kind of a thing, right? This is that kind of a thing. Like again, I think I've seen someone else call it like the Tumblr weird girl aesthetic before, and it's just kind of stuck in my brain. But I don't think that's the right term for it because it's not Tumblr weird girl. It's also Tumblr like weird closeted trans kid who's trying to figure them out. It's Tumblr like non-binary person, right? It's also Tumblr weird adult, right? Like it's much more than that. And I feel like Tumblr Weird Girl has like a derogatory feel, but it is that kind of a thing, in that what we're opening with here is like there's two things happening, right? On the one hand, we have this faux paper cutout thing, right? Which these are presumably not paper cutouts, but you see that little drop shadow that's sort of added over top of them and the way that they're sort of layered with like different levels of black and gray. Like, and this very highly graphic, very stiff, like intentionally stiff animation that's sort of meant to emulate like a paper puppet kind of shadow box theater thing. But then on the back of that, we have this, like this highly stylized series of just like staring eyes in a sort of wallpaper pattern, which is like, oh, there's the decorativism, like there's the extravagance, and the same thing with like, they're supposed to be, like these are supposed to be paper cutouts, right? But then you have this fraying and this very soft first, like which is like, oh, don't know that will be super easy. Like that's not how you would naturally cut a paper cutout figure, because that's a very fine detail. That stuff gets frayed and like bent and broken immediately the moment you handle a paper figure like that. But okay, that's interesting. And we have this, I don't know if this texture is going to persist, but we have this, is it a moving texture? I kind of forgot to pay attention to that. No, a static texture. You can see how the texture, like when everything else in the screen moves, this rough paper texture here doesn't move. And then over top of that still, you have this grain texture thing that's sort of like oscillating. And it's this interesting, almost, I would almost call it almost like an approach to skeuomorphism. Like it's this approach to adding the sensibility of something analog over a medium and a format and a style that is inherently incredibly digital, which is that kind of a thing, like this sort of fascination with and adoration of physical products, like physical media, paper, watercolors, paints, gouache, or gouache, however the fuck you pronounce that, oil paints and shit like that, and like especially like really heavy, gnarly, grainy paper, contrasted against also a certain obsession with like extremely stylized graphic, clean lines and stuff like that. I'm sort of trying to articulate this thing in my head, like this experience I have of this kind of a style, and sort of articulate it into words here, and I'm not sure I'm doing a good job, but it's triggering a bunch of thoughts and recognition in me. Anyway, lovely singing. Wish there were subtitles.
Wild goose chase,
There's also a bunch of Tim Burton in this.
Why have I always been a failure? What can the
Like this, like that figure in the background with the evil eyes and the big hat and the little heart and the cape and the cloak on, like that is that is some fucking Tumblr sexy man shit, right? Which again, I wish Tumblr sexy man wasn't such a pejorative. Like I wish it wasn't used as such a derogatory term, because it's a very specific, interesting character archetype, who I find quite compelling, and like it's very interesting to think about like what the appeal is of that specific kind of character, because like I think it fucks around a lot with like gender and sexuality feelings, especially among teenagers, especially like among people who are still figuring themselves out. Like I think the Tumblr sexy man archetype sort of messes with those things always. I think there's always some kind of an aspect of weird queerness in a lot of the characters who become like Tumblr sexy man, even if the characters themselves are, I guess, boring and as straight as the day comes. I think in this fascination with them, there is some echo of queerness, especially young queerness, that I find interesting.
What can the reason be? I wonder if the
More
one
eyes?
to blame. I wonder if it could.
Fully some American McGee. Yeah, like you see the American McGee Tim Burton, like the like the sort of fucked up alt thing of the mid and late 2000s, early 2010s, is very much in evidence here, as is a little bit of like a production shortcut where these figures are copy pasted from one another and just kind of morphed a little bit to look different. Which again is something I'm going to be looking out for here, is like all the ways in which the pilot cuts corners and like does things to make things easier for itself, that I wonder if the A24 show is going to dispense with that, because it has a budget, because it has like a crowd of professional animators on staff and Amazon money to throw around.
Could be me. I'm always chasing rainbows, watching clouds drifting by. My schemes are just like all my dreams, ending in the sun. Some fellows look and find the
Oh yeah, and also the singing, like that specific style of singing to me, like, because the juxtaposition we're doing here is like we have this like very sort of girl who did choir in high school, like theater kid kind of singing style, contrasted with like blood and gore and death and like the implications of dark and horrible things under the surface. That also feels very much of that kind.
I always look and find the rain. Some fellows make a winning sometime. I never even make a game, believe me. I'm always chasing rainbows, waiting to find a little bluebird.
Okay. It's gonna be a lot of this, by the way. If you wanted to use my reaction as an opportunity to watch the show for the pilot for yourself, sorry, I'm gonna be doing this. I'm gonna be going back and forth to sort of catch things.
Fellows make a win.
See, cause okay, so interesting, cause what I'm looking at right now, like what my brain is pinging on is the quality of animation on this lady here, or this person here, who God knows what their gender is like, look at that. We have like smearing, we have like squash and stretching, we have like all of this secondary, like this is fairly high quality character animation. Right, with like a lot of fluidity and sort of appeal and personality. And then there are other places which like And I don't know what the production conditions were for the pilot for Spindle Horse. Like, I know that they used a whole bunch of freelancers for the A24 show. Like, I suspect, I would expect that the pilot was made like freelancers and contractors, and like, given that it's an independent first-time production, probably with like less than stellar like production oversight. But take a look at the background there. Take a look at that, like, that portrait painting thing they've got going on in the background. Like, the way that that is aesthetically very distinct from everything else that's going on in the show. And also there's some definite aesthetic distinctions between the ways that the backgrounds are rendered and the way that the characters are rendered, which are interesting. But like this much more voluminous, this much more three-dimensional drawing style, which again is what I would find very sort of characteristic of someone has an OC, a character who's rendered in a style like this, right? And then they ask a commission artist, "Hey, could you draw my character like that, but in a more three-dimensional, more lush?" Like, it's very much that kind of artwork is the stuff that would come out of that. Like, these very hyper-stylized, very hyper-flattened character designs rendered out into a more three-dimensional, and often like with a emphasis on like traditional art styles, like colored pencils and markers and shit. Like, that feels very much like that. And like, I wonder if like, is this like a commission of someone's OC? Like, I'm wondering if that's literally the case here. Like, whether that's literally like a commission of an OC that like they just inserted as a background element. But then like what I said, like that character in the porn studio had a very expressive, very high quality animation style, and then we get to these characters here, which like they're not poorly animated at all, but this thing, like this cart, like this very flattened, this is all super Newgrounds Flash animation from the 2000s. Like, those eyebrows are pure Ego Raptor riff from like the 2000s Newgrounds, like these very static characters sort of put together from play shapes. Like this very limited animation style, this very awkward object work. It's like, people don't generally hold their cigarette like in the middle. And like these walk cycles here, right? Like the walk cycles of the characters in the backgrounds here are also very like, that character essentially doesn't really move their upper body. It's very, very stiff, right? It's a very sort of like robotic, and that's something like the background characters walking back and forth here have in common. They have these very sort of stiff walk cycles, which again, given that this is an independent production, this shot isn't fucking important. Like, from the perspective of this doesn't need to be impressive from an animation technical standpoint, whereas the character animation of the main characters presumably gets a lot more attention, which is what it seemed to be with the protagonist, one assumes. Lady who's singing also seemed to be animated at a much higher level. Anyway, it's all interesting to me. I'm just having a good time spotting these things and noticing them, because I'm seeing like so much 2000s Newgrounds in this. Like, so much of it, like, especially in the distinction of like styles between the ways that the backgrounds are rendered, right? Like with these like little stripes, little sort of awkward off shapes, like with inconsistent line weight, that feels so like early 2000s Adobe Flash, or actually before it was, back when it was what was it, Macromedia Flash. It feels very much like that, with like sometimes these really impressive effects animations over the top of it that kind of don't fit with what's going on in the background. And then like notice the level of animation quality on this main character who's introduced crying while singing out over the city. And like, I'm looking for what's the three-dimensionality of this character. Let's see. This is how I would watch this. Like, that's kind of part of the point of the reaction channel, is I sit here and I just watch things the way that I would just watch them if I wasn't doing a video. It's like this. Like, when I when I watch a show, and I'm curious about something, it's a lot like this. It takes me 20 minutes to get through 2 minutes of an animated pilot. Oh, God. How does anyone subscribe to this channel? I don't understand. Ooh, that was cool. But again, this very big mishmash of animation styles, because she is animated far from a Newgrounds sensibility. This is much more of a approach to like a Disney sensibility. Like solid drawing Disney sensibility. And interesting, like everything I said about the walk cycles in the previous crowd shot, right? Here, they seem quite a bit more complicated and well made. So presumably those two shots were handled by different animators who were like at different skill levels, because that little thing, that little guy who's flying up to the little eyeball dude feels a bit like he was drawn by a different character, like by a different animator, because that right there, that is some classic fucking like some classic cartooning of the style of like the guy who did Dr. Bees. Fuck, what's his name? Harry something? Like that feels a little bit more like in his wheelhouse stylistically, with like a really nice weight to that thing that like is grabbing it out of there. Anyway, tell me about the bluebird, lady. Oh, she's done telling me about the bluebird.
Oh, I'm alive! I'm alive!
Classic joke, yes.
Thanks for the fun time, hot stuff.
Yeah, listen. Keep this discreet, you hear me? I can't let it get out I'm offering my services to randos on the street. It was a quick cash grab. You got it?
Whatever you say, slut.
Ouch! Ooh, such an insult. Let me know when you come up with something creative to call me, you sack of poorly packaged horse shit. Tell the missus I said hi. Schnuckums.
Back up. Foam on
Heterochromia, there's another classic that kind of thing. Again, animation style of like, whoever is the character animator on this guy, girl, NB, entity, let's call them entities. Whoever's the character animator on this entity has a really strong sensibility for posing. Like, I really, like, because that head shape there, like this thing where you have a head that sort of just naturally progresses into a hairstyle, that's a difficult thing to fucking manage if you want to render it like in a way that it moves around three-dimensionally, especially with the eyes looking like that. And they're doing a great job. I like the way they use the curl of the eyebrows to really accentuate expression. Oh, cocaine, angel dust.
Up yours, drag show!
Again, animation. This is like very... It's not a bad run cycle at all. But it's a curious one. You see how the thigh here is big and then the thigh there is small? And then the thigh there is big and now the thigh here is small? As like, that's a cute little stylization. Anyway.
Drag show! Oh my god! My drugs! Damn it!
That rules. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so again, this thing about like animation style mismatch. I find it very charming, actually. I find it very charming that things are so fucking all over the place, because this thing is not rendered at all like any other part of the show so far. Oh, that's amazing. Ah, that's fantastic. And again, those really high quality, like someone just going absolutely fucking ham.
Oh my god! My drugs! Damn it!
Absolutely fucking ham on the effects animation here. Like just the fucking smoke clouds and explosions. Holy shit. Someone's been watching anime. Like, damn. Yeah, like stylistically, in terms of animation quality, in terms of animation direction, this is all over the fucking place. Like, all over the fucking place. In a way that only, like, in a way that amateur productions made from, like, the work of freelancers and, like, occasionally volunteers and, like, just passionate creatives just fucking around and doing the best that they can, especially young creatives, it has that energy, and that's all positives, frankly. Like for me, I don't know about anyone else. It has 101 million views. Probably everyone found it charming, but I find it quite charming. Like there's an authenticity to that I really enjoy.
Those other cowardly sinners dare not hinder my territorial takeover. A wise decision. The power of my machines are unmatched.
Even that guy, again, entity, from this shot, because again, presumably it's different animators working on them. Like from this shot, where you see like the way that everything on their body sort of moves and wobbles and bobs around and morphs with their motion. Like this is actually a little bit over animated, I'd say. Like there's maybe a little bit too much going on from frame to frame here. And then you see how it changes, like, to this shot right here, where all of a sudden we have an animator with different sensibility who's doing much more, like, adhering to principles of limited animation, only moving something if it absolutely needs to move for the motion that the character is doing. Which, like, comes across a little bit cleaner and more efficient, I'd say.
Territorial takeover.
And then back to, like, what looks like, frankly, a slightly different character design. But again, someone who has, like, a more specific, like, a different sensibility for... Could be the same animator. Like, the only part where I'm reasonably sure that it's different animators, or maybe the same animator at very different points, would be the transition from, like, the establishing shot to this one, to the other two shots. Just the way that they approach, like, limited animation and, like... Cool detail about how this is a serpent character and the hair then becomes like the cobra thing with the false eyes on it. Very cool. Okay, anyway, let's rewind a little bit.
The power of my machines are unmatched. No other demon can compare to the likes of I.
Gee, that was pretty swell, boss. Yeah, you really showed them what for. I liked when you shot them with your ray gun. I wish he'd shoot me with his ray gun.
At this rate, I will seize control of the entire west side of the pentagram by day's end. And nothing, not a single beast in this inferno of suffering will be able to take back this empire from my constrictive grasp. Hell will...
Oh, I don't like the egg guys. Okay, I found something I didn't find charming. The egg guys. Mostly it's the delivery. I think, I don't know if that, it could be intentional. Like, that could actually be part of the point of the thing. But the delivery is very, we want these to be the minions kind of vibe. Like, not in the literal sense, but, like, we want these to be sort of the funny side character, gag characters who could be exposed to extreme violence and slapstick shit. The voice performance doesn't sell that for me here. Which, like, that could be a direction thing, that could be a thing about the actor, that could be a thing, like, God knows, like, could be any number of things. But, like, I think what could have been very charming about them is if they were like, oh, that was so great, boss, like, hey, like, if they was, like, sort of classic cartoon toadies, right? Okay, boss, yeah, you got it, boss, like that. Again, I can't do a better job, I should say, but performance of the voice performance there just kind of left me cold on that. Doesn't matter. But
be mine, and everybody will know the name of Sir.
And similarly, I think there's a little bit of a mismatch sometimes from shot to shot about the characters, like the character's voice performance and their acting performance, where the voice performance is very, I am the Lord Snake Man of the Demon Hells, and then the acting performance is maybe, like, especially in that shot right here, I think somewhat too sedate for, like, the flamboyant, outrageous character he's portraying, right? Little things like that. I'm gonna try not to comment on that too much, because it's not fair, frankly. But I'm paying attention. Oh, tangent. I spotted a tangent in the line work. Ooh, you're not supposed to do that. Well, sometimes, but...
Everybody will know the name of Sir... Lord! Pardon? Who said that? What did you just say to me, you fried chicken fetuses? Speak up!
That wasn't us, Mr. Boss Man.
I think that might be a bomb.
You looking for a fight? Old man. Why don't you get that Tinker Toy bullshit off my turf before I smash it? More.
Oh, you want to go, Missy? Well, I'm happy to oblige.
Good afternoon. I'm Katie Killjoy.
And I'm Tom Trench. Chaos out of Pentagram City today as a turf war is raging on the west side between notable kingpin Serpentius and self-proclaimed spunky powerhouse Cherry Bomb.
Again, that thing about like this is OC fan art and commissions from very different artists being used as the background art. Yeah, I think we just saw another example of that. Also, fun idea to animate the guy by having like a gas mask thing that moves like that. Again, deeply inconsistent with the visual tone of the rest of the show. I'm enjoying this. I'm gonna try not to pause every single time I spot something like that, but I'm very much enjoying seeing.
That's right, Tom.
Seeing
After
that.
the recent extermination, many areas are now up for grabs. Demons all over hell are already duking it out to gain new territory.
Those two seem to really be going at it, huh?
Looks like they're fighting tooth and nail for that hotspot.
And I'd sure like to nail her hot spot.
You are a lip dick jackass, Tom. Or should I say, no dick. Coming up next, we have an exclusive interview with the daughter of Hell's own head honcho, who's here to discuss her brand new passion project. All that and more after the break. Suck it up, you little bitch.
Okay, you remember what to say?
Yes, let's do this.
Just look at me and I'll mouth it to you.
Come on, Vaggie. I know what to say. I just feel like we need to, I don't know, make things sound more exciting.
Oh, what if I
Sing a song about it?
You knew I was gonna say that.
Because I know you. But please don't sing. This is serious.
Well, you know, I'm better at expressing myself and my goals through song.
Okay. Okay. Tone is all over the place as well. Like, all over the fucking place. Holy shit. Like, and again, in a way that... so much of the language we use to describe these kinds of things has pejorative connotations, and I'm looking for words that aren't that. Because it feels juvenile. This whole thing, like with the drugs, and like the rock falls on the guy, and he's like, "Oh my god, a rock!" And you think it's like, oh, because he rock fell on the guy, but no, it's because he's worried about his drugs. Funny joke. It's like, and like the sort of vacillation between this Saturday morning cartoon silliness, and then all of a sudden this. Here's a bunch of swear words. Here's a bunch of ultra violence. Here's a bunch of, but then also sometimes there's a bunch of violence that happens that isn't ultra violence because it just sort of resolves the way that it would in a Looney Tunes cartoon. Like tonally, it's all over the place. But again, not in a bad way. In a way that's curiously compelling. And I guess we really are doing like a Disney princess thing with her. That she's the princess of hell and she expresses herself through song. She sings about rainbows and shit. Yeah, okay.
But life isn't a musical, hun.
Fine, but I have these other ideas of what to say.
The highlighted bits are the best parts.
It's all highlighted. Is this a drawing?
Yes, that's the happy ending, see? Everyone's smiling and happy in heaven.
I don't think it's that simple. Just please follow the talking points we went over. And do not sing.
She's gonna sing.
Okay, fine. I'll just have to resort to my impeccable improv skills.
Oh boy.
Hi.
That accent.
I'm Charlie.
Katie Killjoy. I'd say it's a pleasure to meet you, but that would be a lie. You can put that away. I don't touch the gays. I have standards.
Yeah, how's that
Oh,
working out for you?
homophobia. Well,
My
I mean,
time
yeah.
is money, so I'll keep this short. You're not here because we wanted you here. You're here because Jeffrey couldn't make it for his cannibal cooking segment. You might be some royal big shot, but that doesn't mean shit to me. I'm too rich and too influential to give a flying fuck about what some tuck-swearing demon princess wants to advertise. So don't get cute with me, honey, or I will fucking bury you.
And we're live.
Welcome back. Oh, Charlotte.
It's Charlie.
Whatever. Tell us about this new passion project you've been insistently pestering our news station about.
Well, as most of you know, I was born here in Hell, and growing up, I always tried to see the good in everything around me. Hell is my home, and you are my people. We just went through another extermination. We lost so many souls, and it breaks my heart to see my people being slaughtered every year. No one is even given a chance. I can't stand idly by while the place I live is subjected to such violence. So, I've been thinking, isn't there a more humane way to hinder overpopulation here?
Okay, yeah, I mean, girl, you live here, right? You said that you live here? Right? Yeah, you have your whole... Okay, so the idea here is that, literally, that we have a Disney princess sensibility trapped in a hell princess's body. Which, okay, we can work with that. It's a Beetlejuice snake. Or a riff on a Beetlejuice snake. Again, it's very much that kind of a thing. Right? It's very much of that era, of that sensibility. And I can feel the old negative feelings I have about it sort of start to rise up the back of my throat, like the instinct to cringe is trying to come up. It's trying to make me into a curmudgeonly old man, and I'm gonna fucking beat it down because it doesn't come from an honest place of engagement. It comes from like my own fucking baggage, and that's not fair to saddle that on the show.
In Hell, perhaps we can create an alternative way to change souls through redemption? Well, I think yes. So that's what this project aims to achieve. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm opening the first of its kind, a hotel that rehabilitates sinners. You know, because hotels are for people passing through temporarily.
Is this girl for real? She thinks. You hear what she thinks? She's.
Oh, there's some mic quality things there. Yeah.
Nuts.
I figure it would serve a purpose. A place to work towards redemption. Yay!
Stupid bitch.
Look, every single one of you has something good deep down inside. I know you do. Maybe I'm not getting through to you.
Oh no.
I have a dream. I'm here to tell about a wonderful, fantastic new hotel. Yes, it's one of a kind right here.
Okay, that's also, again, audio mixing. I'm taking note of a bunch of, partly because I really do want to see, once they have the institutional support of A24 and Amazon, like, I want to see how much the production quality levels up. Because presumably it's going to take a big bump. And here it's like some real, that microphone and recording setup and the way that song is mixed sounds very different from the opening song. I gotta say.
Catering to a specific clientele. Inside of every demon is a rainbow. Inside every sinner is a shiny smile.
Oh, hey, I recognize that one from...
It's a jolly, happy, cupcake loving child. We can turn around. They'll be heaven bound with just a little time down at the Happy Hotel. So all you junkies, freaks, and weirdos, creepers, fuck-ups, crooks, and zeros, and unknown superheroes.
Okay, yeah, no, you can't just flash that past me. You can't just do that. Okay. And what I'm doing right now, I think, is also part of the sensibility of the show. Is like it's a show that kind of expects people to flash frame their way through it and like catch all of the background details. I do like that it's a recliner sitting on a couch. That's quite clever as character design. And yeah, clearly all of this is animated by, I would say, like single shots taken by different animators. With this one sort of approximating a old school Disney Merry Melodies, or not Merry Melodies, what would they call Disney's? Merry Melodies was Warner Brothers. Silly Symphony. Like the bobbing up and down thing. And it does contribute, like, I will say the direction and the storyboarding and the pacing here on the shots is shoddy in this, again, pejorative term, but it's very all over the place. In a way that makes it visually a little bit hard to follow. Like, it's so hyperactive. Some gorgeous shots in there, here and there.
Wow! That was shit.
What in the 9 circles makes you think a single denizen of hell would give 2 shits about becoming a better person? You have no proof that this little experiment even works. You want people to be good just because?
Well, we have a patron already who believes in our cause, and he's shown incredible progress.
Oh, and who might that be?
Oh, just someone named Angel Dust.
The porn star?
You fucking would, Tom. In any case, that's not even an accomplishment. I'm sure you can get that hooker to do anything with enough booger sugar and lube.
Oh, I beg to differ. He's been behaved, clean, and out of trouble for 2 weeks now.
Breaking news!
Yeah, that's breaking news.
Are
He's
receiving
in
word
trouble.
that a new player has entered the ongoing turf war. Let's go to the live feed.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit, indeed. It looks like the one who just joined the battle is none other than porn actor Angel Dust. What a juicy coincidence. You must feel really stupid right now. Ratings! Don't look at this. Well, it sure looks like your little project is dead on arrival. Tell us, how does it feel to be such a total failure?
Yeah, well, how does it feel that I got your pen, huh?
Okay, so that's thematically what we're operating here with is playing, like, it's this thing of like, because the show itself, right, like all of the fucking swearing and like one of the characters is a porn star and people are dying and ultra violence and the, like, people are like, the characters are performatively just the worst pieces of shit they can possibly be in any given situation, which is being weighed up against like her desire to sort of, like, her naivete, right? Which, by the way, in terms of her character design, nice little detail to give her little red cheeks. Like, there's also, like, there's a lot of, like, the big eyes and, like, the relatively downplayed sensibility of her character design next to the... But I like that she's got, like, little red apple cheeks kind of thing. Like, because within the thing that when I was a commission artist that used to bug me sometimes about character designs in this sensibility, right? Like characters like that I was asked, paid. It was my job. I did never complained out loud. I was more professional than that. But the thing that did bug me is that, like, because I care a bunch about character design, is that in this sensibility and style, sometimes character designs can take on like an element of, here's just I'm cramming a bunch of shit onto this character, just a bunch of things, like a bunch of graphically appealing elements that I'm just sort of mashing on there, and there isn't necessarily a thought process about, like, well, what kind of character is it meant to convey, so much as, oh, it's just a bunch of shit I like mashed onto the same thing, right? And that is something that's something where I've shifted a lot as I've grown older. I used to be very curmudgeonly about that. That's bad character design. You should try and do bad. But, like, the point of an OC, the point of a character that you make is to make you happy. And so if you just mash a bunch of shit that you like onto a character design that you've made, and it makes you happy, then you have, objectively speaking, done very good character design, because the character is achieving exactly the goal that it sets out to achieve, right? So I've loosened up on that a lot. And, like, whereas what I see in a lot of the background characters here is that they sort of fall into that sensibility of just cram shit on there, without necessarily thinking to, like, okay, we're trying to convey a particular kind or type of character. But then the main characters, or at least the characters that seem to be I feel like I recognize that one from somewhere. The main characters, the ones that do most of the talking, like Killjoy lady here, like there seems to be like a more specific thought process going through of, like, yes, we have these appealing graphical elements, but we're also doing something to try and convey a specific personality type. Like, there's a reason why she has a big mouth, right? There's a reason why we have this enormous black outline around her, like her red eye with a single little pinprick pupil thing in it. Like, it's all about conveying a certain kind of riff on, like, media personalities and, like, the brutality of a certain kind of older woman archetype. And one thing I do like, I don't remember her name, again, her character design seems very specifically calculated to counteract a lot of those things and the rest of the, like, all the rest of the character designs, tendency towards sharpness, right? Like, lots of sharp angles, lots of sharp lines, points, and shit all over the thing. Her, roundness, right? Like, lots of round shapes, like round eyeliner things on the sides of it. She has the round apple cheeks. She has the hair that does the round thing. Like, that's something that seems to set her apart visually from all the other characters. And that's quite well observed, like, in a way to visually set her apart and make her stand out. But then here in this shot, when she's being a little bit sharper with her, I feel like that's the thing, is, like, what I'm looking for is whether the show is intentionally morphing character designs to fit the role and the power play that's going on between the characters. Because I thought I saw signs of that with her in some of the scenes. But then sometimes it doesn't happen, so I don't know how intentional it is. But anyway, good character design details like that. This character is so defined by roundness, where everything else tends to have a definition that comes from sharpness. Clever.
Oops.
Wait, that makes her mad?
Back up, Angie.
You kidding? This is the best action I've seen in ages.
Where you been anyway? I thought you up and died or some shit.
Oh, I wish. I've been staying at this crappy hotel on the other side of town. Some broads are letting me stay rent-free if I play nice. You know, no fights, no pranks, no problematic language. Her words, not mine. These crazy bitches are no fun. I've been clean for 2 weeks.
Holy shit.
Well, sorta clean. As clean as you could get with a shitload of Bolivian marching powder. Oh, harder, Daddy.
Yeah, oh God, really?
You whores have no class. In
war, the side remembered is the side with the most style.
Or the side that ain't dead.
Speaking of style, is your hat, like, alive or something?
Oh, well, that's none of your goddamn business. Now is it?
Would that make your hat the top and you the bottom?
I don't think that deserved air horns.
Blow you to bits.
Kinky.
Oh, not like that, pervert. Not so cocky now, are we?
You know, you really gotta watch what comes out of your mouth. I've been making these sex jokes the whole time, and it's obvious you ain't catching on. I mean, it's just sad.
So think you're gonna get in a lot of trouble for this?
What's one little brawl gonna cause?
Glad you haven't changed. You know you're my favorite guy to party with.
You know it, sugar tits.
You ready to finish this?
Born ready, baby.
The scripting definitely needs some editing. Like, I'm seeing a lot of things that, like, you could definitely tighten up. Which, again, I'm curious about what the 824 adaptation is gonna do.
What?
What? What? What were you doing?
I owed my girl buddy a solid. Isn't that a redeeming quality? Helping friends with stuff?
Not with turf wars that result in territorial genocide.
You win some, you lose a few hundred. It wasn't that bad anyway. Oh, come on, I had to. My credibility was on the line. I mean, what kind of reputation would I have if people found out I was trying to go clean? It just throws out my entire persona.
Your credibility? What about the hotels? Your little stunt made us look like a fucking joke.
No, babe. Jokes are funny. I made you look, sad and pathetic. Like an orphan with no arms or legs. With progeria. Great, now I'm bummed thinking about it. This thing have any liquor?
Can you please just try to take this seriously?
Fine, I'll try. Just don't get your taco in a twist, baby.
Was that you trying to be sexist or racist?
Whatever pisses you off more. Is there seriously no...
I also, and returning to, like, being juvenile, right? I am trying to parse out, is the show actually trying to be offensive? Right? Because it seems to keep towing a particular line where it's like, yeah, very offensive. We're very right up to the thing, and then not ever actually transgressing particularly. But that might also just be because my sensibilities are fucking warped from over 20 years of being on the internet. God, I'm old. It feels like, again, and that's also the thing about what audience is Hazbin Hotel pitched for. Because that's one thing I've been watching so far, and I haven't been able to quite place or figure out who's the intended audience for this show. Because again, in a lot of its sensibility, it feels juvenile. And again, I don't use that pejoratively. I don't use that derogatorily. That's not a bad thing. Juvenile is good. We need fucking juvenile media, because sometimes we are all juveniles occasionally, like at least once in our lives. And like juvenile is like often used as like synonymous with bad. I don't think it is. Like juvenile is only bad when it conflicts with what a show is actually trying to do. The thing I'm trying to parse out here that I'm not 100% sure about is like, who's the audience for Hazbin Hotel? Because I don't think it's adults. Like, I like adults in the understanding of like people like me, like their 30s, right? I don't think we're the audience. But also, parts of this feel way too far to be actually pitched at children, right? Just like not even like not for because of children shouldn't be allowed to watch this sort of thing, but because they wouldn't understand the references that are being made, like Bolivian marching powder. That is admittedly a very sort of early 2000s TV reference, but that's like an audience of kids wouldn't understand that. An audience of teenagers might, maybe. So I guess it is like like parts of it feel like it's very aimed at children. Parts of it feel like it's aimed at teenagers. And then parts of it feel like they can only really be understood by someone who's an adult. And I'm sort of trying to parse out where exactly the lines go there. And again, that's another thing I'm curious to, because like one of the things that a company like A24 and Amazon would bring to a production like this would be a demand to zero in on target demographics so that they know who the fuck to market it to, which like might result in the show getting a lot more cohesive with the tone and where it's pitching its jokes.
Liquor in here.
I'm gonna kill him.
Too late, Toots. Wait! Would that make me double dead? Where exactly do I go? To double hell? Sorry, you're stuck with me, bitch. Get used to it. Listen, who cares if some jagoffs got hurt? Most of them are ugly freaks. Look around. We got a bunch of fucking Harlequin babies down here.
You're one to talk.
Hey! This body is flawless. Everyone wants some of me, and I got the creepy fan letters to prove it.
That was really uncool, you know, Angel.
Honestly, I get those letters as well. It's not hard.
Cool? After that train wreck, there is no way anyone is gonna want to stay at the hotel. All thanks to you and your selfish bullshit!
Does that mean I don't have a free room anymore? Ah, well, shucks.
Hey, come on. We don't know if things are over yet. Try to relax, Vaggie. It'll be okay.
Whoa, okay, all right, okay, all right, okay, hang on.
Yet?
I need
Try to relax,
okay.
Vaggie. It'll be okay.
Well, okay, all right, yeah, oh, okay, someone in the compositing did not, okay. Okay, yeah, that compositing is a little, That's not how perspective works, at all. Wow, okay, that shot kind of took me out of it. That's a little, yeah, you know. Interestingly, oh, it's because the car is a 3D model. That's why. Of course it is. Like, of course it's the 3D model. Or is it? No, it has to be because it maintains that consistency of shape when it micro-rotates, so. Or does it? Hang on, am I wrong? No, yeah, that shifts from angle to angle, so what the hell did they do? How did they animate this shot? Did they rotoscope it over something? Because the compositing is wrong. It's like that's just not how, like, and that's not really on the animators, by the way, so much as that's on the direction of the show and like the whoever's like doing the producing. That those two shots do not fit together at all and probably should not have been composited like that. Oh boy, that was that was a thing. Again, it doesn't matter. Like that's it. This is independent animation production, but it is that thing of like that deep inconsistency of quality of work that I think is part of a lot of the charm here. And it's also because it ties into a video script I'm actually working on over on the main channel. Like, specifically about this kind of biting off more than you can chew, optimistic creativity. Which, like, I identify... In the script, it's about old webcomics, right? Like, from the Keenspot days. Web Rings, like, Project Wonderful, all that shit. And the specific sensibility of creative optimism that existed on the internet back then that has kind of been beaten out of it, especially out of the webcomic scene, by the rise of platforms like Tapas, and like the sort of webcomic hosting platforms that have really injected a lot of that sort of grind set capitalistic competition mentality into proceedings. That has beaten some people into the fucking ground. But part of it is like we have this shot, like that shot of the car, which is not good, like on a technical level, not very good. But then I see this fucking background here, right? And this is a fucking, like, this is Owl House level background work. This is Gravity Falls level background work. like even just the skull on the wall, the way that that's like integrated with the environment, the composition of this shit with like all the fucking colored glass and shit. Like the background work in this shot is fucking immaculate, right? And a lot of the background work again is all over the fucking place because sometimes it's hyper flat and stylized, and then sometimes you get this incredibly gorgeous shot with like light streaming in through the windows and like bespoke shadows all over the background elements, like this sense of depth and scale and like volume that just doesn't exist in other places on the show. Like whoever did this background shot, goddamn, like fucking quality work. Really high quality work. Holy shit. Same thing here. And here, actually, interestingly... Okay, so I guess that'll be the same artist. Again, looks like fan art hanging on the walls there in the background, or like commission work. This isn't... No, I think it is rendered in 2D, but... Maybe rotoscoped? Like, maybe, like, constructed in a 3D production suite and then rendered over? That's interesting. Because, like, the shape and volume on everything in this fucking shot is perfect. Like, goddamn. Like, the fucking pillar things going up into the... This background shot is really well done. I don't know if I would have taken that angle on an establishing shot like that, but... And then this background shot, like, by contrast, right? All of a sudden, the lighting is completely different. The sense of space and depth is completely different because it's a different person who's working on it. God, it's all over the place. Again, not in a bad way, necessarily. In a way that, like, I don't know if you can hear it on me, but I am curbing my instinct to snobbery, right? I have this instinct towards... Because I spend all my time fucking criticizing and watching, like, high-quality professional productions from studios that should be able to do, you know, top-of-the-line work. And I keep sort of wanting to bring that in here, and it doesn't belong here. It doesn't make sense. So what you're hearing right now is also me going through the process of, like, pulling myself by the scruff of the neck and being like, hey, don't be an elitist old dipshit. Like, enjoy the thing for the qualities that it has, because it has so many.
It's probably a good idea to get some actual food in this place. You know, to feed all the wayward souls you got in here.
Yeah, very different door there.
Hey, Mom. I know I keep calling, and you must be busy. Really busy. But, the interview didn't go well, and I don't know if I'm going to make a difference. I don't know what I'm doing. I could really use some advice, Mom. I think Dad was right about me. Well, anyway, I'll stop talking before this gets long. Love you. Bye.
What I'm curious about with her character is, where does she get any of this from? Like, given her environment, given the world that she lives in, where does she get any of that goodness? Where does she get any of that vulnerability? That lack of cruelty? Like, who instilled in her the capacity for those things? That's what I'm curious about with this character right now. And also whether the show is actually interested in exploring that. This is a good shot, by the way. 'Cause, 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 'cause,
What?
The radio demon is at the door.
What?
Who?
What should I do?
Well, don't let him in.
May I speak now?
You may.
Alistair, pleasure to be meeting you, sweetheart. Quite a pleasure. Excuse my sudden visit, but I saw your fiasco on the picture show, and I just couldn't resist. What a performance! Why, I haven't been that entertained since the stock market crash of 1929. So many orphans.
Stop right there. Cabrón, hijo de perra. I know your game. And I'm not gonna let you hurt anyone here, you pompous, cheesy talk show shitlord.
Dear, if I wanted to hurt anyone here, I would have done so already. No, I'm here because I want to help.
Say what now?
Help! Hello? Is this thing on? Testing? Testing?
Well, I heard you loud and clear.
Oh my god, he has a fucking ventriloquist. Okay, yeah. Is he gonna do ventriloquism bits? I hope he is. That's gonna be funny. Boy, I've seen fan art of that guy around, and now I know why. Oh boy. Again, Tumblr sexy man, non-derogatory. Like that character design speaks to a very particular aesthetic need and interest. And speaks very loudly towards it as well.
You want to help with...
This ridiculous thing you're trying to do. This hotel. I want to help you run it.
But... what?
Why does anyone do anything? Sheer, absolute boredom. I've lacked inspiration for decades. My work became mundane, lacking focus, aimless. I've come to crave a new form of entertainment.
Does getting into a fistfight with a reporter count as entertainment?
It's the purest kind, my dear. Reality, true passion.
Okay, so he's the radio demon, right? And I think we're pointing at that with the antenna horn things on his head, right? And we're doing it with a staff with the microphone on it. I feel like the hair is doing something as well. I don't know if it's like... because the red and black thing it's got going on, is that like supposed to be aerials or... I don't know, I think I'm missing something about the way that his character design's put together.
After all, the world is a stage, and the stage is a world of entertainment.
That line does not make nearly as much sense as you think it did, buddy. Okay. Interesting. Because there's some, like, in terms of the character design, there's some really interesting, like the shape language of, you have these very high swooped, rounded upper eyelids, and then these eyes that are like they can compress down into these deep slits to sort of lend him that, like, suave, confident, sexy kind of thing that he's got going on. Okay, cool. Because again, remember the thing I said about like how there seems to be an intentionality in modulating between sharp shapes for characters who are cynical, evil, like ensconced in like the sensibility of hell, and then more rounded shapes for our air quotes good characters who are like more willing to see the good in the world. And what I'm curious about with the radio demon is that, again, from shot to shot, different animators seem to be taking a crack at them. And so their level of roundness is not 100% consistent. But this jacket swoop into the heart shape is like, makes me wonder, is the character design signaling that this character maybe has a little bit more goodness in them than they're letting on? I wonder. Because that's the thing, like that's the downside. That's the frustration I bring with me from my commission artist days, is like this thing of I have this instinct to try and understand the semiotics and the communication of character design on a level that this aesthetic sensibility often doesn't really engage with so much, because it is chasing like this graphic appeal. And so I'm wondering, like, because I'm sitting here like my analytical brain is going, oh, okay, like these details about the character design sort of signal this and that, like these little rounded swoop shapes on the hairdo, like the round monocle. Am I supposed to understand the shape language in the way that I think it's meant to be understood, or does that only apply to one character because every character is maybe designed by a different character artist, or maybe there isn't like a coherent lore Bible on the show, or a coherent style guide that sort of sets down these are the meanings of shapes within this aesthetic universe, which, like, again, on an amateur production, why would there be? Yeah, I'm wondering about that. I'm curious. Is the thing. Because I don't like the side of me that's snobbish. The side of me that has the tendency to sneer. I don't like it very much. Like, it's part of me. I can't escape it. And you have, like, we all have our aesthetic sensibilities. We all like the things we like for various reasons. So I try not to shame myself over it, but I also don't want to just let him run my brain all the time. I want to. It has 101 million views. I am sitting here and I'm parts of me are getting annoyed at the flaws. The things that I perceive as flaws. But I want to see the qualities. I want to focus on that.
Crave a new form of entertainment.
Does getting into a fistfight with a reporter count as entertainment?
It's the purest kind, my dear. Reality, true passion. After all, the world is a stage, and the stage is a world of entertainment.
Like, really butchering the Shakespeare quote there, buddy.
So, does this mean that you think it's possible to rehabilitate a demon?
Of course not. That's wacky nonsense. Redemption. Oh, the non-existent humanity. No. I don't think there's anything left that could save such loathsome sinners. The chance given was the life they lived before. The punishment is this. There is no undoing what is done.
So then, why do you want to help me if you don't believe in my cause?
Consider it an investment in ongoing entertainment for myself. I want to watch the scum of the world struggle to climb up the hill of betterment, only to repeatedly trip and tumble down to the fiery pit of failure.
Right.
Yes, indeedy. I see big things coming your way, and who better to help you than I?
So, what's the deal with Smiles over there?
Wait, you've never heard of him before? You've been here longer than me. The radio demon, one of the most powerful beings hell has ever seen.
Not big on politics.
Ugh. Decades ago, Alistair manifested in hell, seemingly overnight.
We're swapping very much into a different aesthetic sensibility. Ooh, pure Beetlejuice right there.
Who had been dominant for centuries. That kind of raw power had never.
And there I see a little bit of Don't Starve, which is also very much part of the aesthetic, like the aesthetic playground, the aesthetic pool that this show is drawing from. And here we have, oh fuck, what's that from? That's that style. I recognize this particular rendering style for like claws and demons. Was it a Cartoon Network show? It's not Zim, is it? Could be Zim. I mean, a lot of this draws some of its DNA and genetics from Sim.
Had never been harnessed by a mortal soul before. Then he broadcast his carnage all throughout hell, just so everyone could witness his ability. Sinners started calling him the Radio Demon. As lazy as that is. Many have speculated what unimaginable force enabled him to rival our world's most ancient and destructive evils. But one thing's for sure. He's an unpredictable source of danger, a wicked spirit of mystery, and a violent monster of chaos, the likes of which we can't risk getting involved with unless we want to end up erased.
He looks like a strawberry pimp.
Well, I don't trust him.
To be fair, do you trust any man? Any men? Men?
Charlie, listen to me. You can't believe this creep. He isn't just a happy face. He's a deal maker. Pure evil. He can't be redeemed. And is most likely looking for a way to destroy everything we're trying to do.
We don't know that. Look, I know he's bad, and I know he probably doesn't want to change. But the whole point of this is to give people a chance. To have faith, things will be better. How can I turn someone away? I can't. It goes against everything I'm trying to do. Everything I believe in. Just trust me. I can take care of myself.
Charlie, whatever you do
They seem like good friends.
not make a deal with him.
Don't worry. I picked up one thing from my dad. You don't take shit from other demons. Okay, so now, you're sketchy as fuck, and you clearly see what I'm trying to do here as a joke. But I don't. I think everyone deserves a chance to prove they can be better, so I'm taking your offer to help. On the condition that there be no trickster voodoo strings attached.
So it's a deal then?
Nope, no shaking, no deals. As Princess of Hell and heir to the throne, I hereby order that you help with this hotel for as long as you desire. Sound fair?
Fair enough.
Cool beans.
Smile, my dear. You know you're never fully dressed without one. So where is your hotel staff?
Well...
Oh, you're going to need more than that. And what can you do, my effeminate fellow?
I can suck your dick.
Ha! No.
You're lost.
Okay, that was good. Okay, that timing, that was immaculate. That was perfect. That okay. I was most replayed as well. Okay, that one, that got me. Fuck. The timing was right.
Well...
I need to see that again.
Oh, you're going to need more than that.
The audio mixing on that guy's voice drive is gonna drive some people insane, and it's kind of grating on me because what is it, a high pass filter, whatever it is to do the radio voice? I think it's a low, high pass filter. It cuts out so much of the sonority of the voice. The voice actor has to be real fucking careful about their delivery in order not to right. Like that's why old-timey radio voices sound like it's why old-timey radio voices sound like this, right? Like that voice, that particular style of delivery was developed to suit the microphones and like the speakers of the day by being specifically very legible, very audible in the crappy tin speakers that most people had with which to listen, right? So, Tony Seaskidoo, like that shit. That is a style of delivery that's developed to fit that format. And I don't know that the voice actor is 100% nailing it all the time.
And what can you do, my effeminate fellow?
I can suck your dick.
Like, that's fucking good. That little reaction shot with like the shattering mirror in the background.
I need more than that. And what can you do, my effeminate fellow?
I can suck your dick.
Ha! No.
You're lost.
That's very good. That is genuinely very... That's a joke that fucking lands. I will say also, I feel there's a shift in the aesthetic sensibility of the show, like literally from the opening shots. I think the character is consistent, but just like the background, like I think, did they work on the show in chronological order, I wonder? It sort of feels like a little bit that maybe at least some part of it was chronological. Because there's certain parts of it that feel like they're refining more and more, just even as the episode goes on.
Well, this just won't do. I suppose I can cash in a few favors to liven things up. This little darling is nifty.
Hi, I'm Nifty. It's nice to meet you. It's been a while since I've made new friends. Why are you all women? Are there any men here? I'm sorry if that's rude. Oh man, this place is filthy. It really needs a lady's touch, which is weird because you're all ladies, no offense. Oh my gosh, this is awful. Nope, 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 nope.
Freedom and wheat, boys. Full. Hell? What the fuck is this? You.
Ah, Husker, my good friend. Glad you could make it.
Don't you Husker me, you son of a bitch. I was about to win the whole damn pot.
Good to see you too.
What the hell do you want with me this time?
My friend, I am doing some charity work, so I took it upon myself to volunteer your services. I hope that's okay.
Are you shitting me?
No, I don't think so.
You thought it would be some kind of big fucking riot just to pull me out of nowhere? You think I'm some kind of fucking clown?
Maybe.
I ain't doing no fucking charity job.
Well, I figured you would be the perfect face to man the front desk of this fine establishment. With your charming smile and welcoming energy, this job was made for you. Don't worry, my friend. I can make this more welcoming, if you wish.
What? You think you can buy me with a wink and some cheap booze? Well, you can.
Hey! No bar, no alcohol. This is supposed to be a place that discourages sin. Not some kind of mouth brothel man cave.
Shut up! We are keeping this.
Sin, huh? That's the other thing that's, like, worth interrogating about the show is, like, it's the, redemption from hell and from all your vices and sins, which seem to be having sex, taking drugs, and drinking alcohol so far? And that's, like, a very Christian conception of sin, which is pleasure and hedonism as sin, which, okay, so is this show going to engage with specifically Christian concepts of sin and pleasure as like these forces that are in conflict? Because I don't think the episode is gonna, because it's almost over, and it only took me an hour and a half to get through it. Jesus Christ. But is the show going to engage with that? Because that would be interesting. Because, like, there isn't, like, unless you have a specifically Christian belief system, well, not specifically Christian, could be, like, there are multiple belief systems, but unless you have a specific religious view, there's nothing inherently sinful about drinking alcohol. Like, we might say murder is a pretty universal sin. Like, I don't think there's a society on Earth that isn't down on murder. But drinking, fucking, even like every society on Earth has a negotiation on which drugs are legal and which are not, you know? And whether that distinction is moralized is, like, again, it's a subject of, so, okay, so what is sin? What is redemption? That's one thing I will criticize the episode for, just in terms of it hasn't really made it clear what the stakes are for it. It sort of seems to operate on the presumption that we all just know, okay, sin is all of these things, and that's the thing that they need to do redemption from. But it is, I was genuinely kind of surprised as, like, oh, no alcohol because this place is supposed to be free of sin. That's, like, that's a very specific kind of American Christianity, I think. That sort of has that presumption that, yeah, of course, drinking is sinful. You wouldn't find it here. We're in Scandinavia. No. No. You wouldn't find that conception of vice here. Certainly wouldn't find it in the Balkans. Like, there's a lot of societies on Earth who would not consider even excessive drinking. Like, maybe it's bad. Maybe it's a bad idea. Maybe it's unhealthy. Maybe it's something you shouldn't do because it has negative consequences for other people. But sinful, specifically like ontologically evil or like sinful, that's a very specific perspective. So,
Hey,
Go fuck yourself.
only if you watch me.
Oh my gosh! Welcome to the Happy Hotel! You are going to love it here!
I lost the ability to love years ago.
So, what do you think?
This is amazing!
It's okay.
This is going to be very entertaining.
You have a dream you wish to tell, and it's just laughable, but hey kid, what the hell? 'Cause you're one of a kind, a charming demon belle.
Good
Now
dancing
give
animation.
These burning fools a place to dwell. Take it, boys. Inside of every demon is a lost cause, but we'll dress them up for now with just a smile. We'll chlorinate this cesspool with some old redemption flair and show these simpletons some proper class and style. Oh, here below the ground, I'm sure your plan is sound. They'll spend a little time down at this Hazbin Hotel.
Well. Look who it is harboring the striped freak. We meet yet again, Alistair. Do I know you? Oh, yes, you do. And this time I have the element of surprise.
Very different sensibility once again.
Well, I'm starved. Who wants some jambalaya? My mother.
Okay, so I guess the point of that scene is to establish the power level of Alistair. Which, okay, fair enough. I feel like the introduction he got from the character with the X for the eye, whose name, I will say, this is again a criticism I have of like the whole episode here, is the audio mixing is all over the fucking place. And it does not always do a very good job of rendering the voices clearly legible in the mix, which is why I was really hoping it would have subtitles. Okay.
Showed me a wonderful recipe for jambalaya. In fact, it nearly killed her. You could say the kick was right out of hell. Oh, I'm on a roll. Yes, sir. This is the start of some real changes down here. The game is set. Now, stay tuned.
Okay. How many of those voice actors stay around, I wonder? But yeah, there's definitely, like, there's a lot of parts of this where I'm like, my editor brain kicks in and I go, oh, okay, like, if you move that around there, or like, if you give that character a little bit more time to introduce themselves. Like, for example, what we're seeing here in the end is that, like, this character, don't remember her name. She's apparently important enough, like, that's, like, full on-screen voice credit kind of thing. And she seems to be sort of acting as Mr. Pornstar's not girlfriend, but friend who's a girl, who sort of tempts him into doing dumb bad shit. What did she want at any point in the like? Did she have a motivation to think? She was just showing up, and then she was just fighting with the guy, the snake guy, who then, I guess, their fight didn't. Like, what happened with their fight? Why is he either still alive, and why is he attacking the hotel? Like, there's a lot of moments of character motivation that like are missing from rendering the action legible. Like sort of not in the sense that there needs to be like a long scene where she explains exactly what her deal is and sings an "I Want" song, but in the sense of like we should know what an individual character sort of broadly speaking wants to achieve in a given scene. That's kind of missing here a little bit. I just okay, like I thought okay, she's just a side character who doesn't matter, and then she gets like a whole screen for herself with like a introduction graphic at the end that sort of seems to suggest otherwise. Which, like, okay, like, nothing wrong with that. It's just I did not clock her as a character who was going to be important or relevant from the way that she was introduced, like, incorporated in the show. I will also say, like, every single character design is strong in the sense that it is eminently recognizable, right? Like, this is utterly recognizable as a character. Like, you can put that in a lot of, like, one of the good tests for whether a character design is, like, strong recognizability is, can you put this character in a different costume, right? And are they still recognizable? And, like, with her, yeah, absolutely. Like, there's some really strong graphic elements to her character design. So long as you have the red cheeks, like, the white skin, and the eyes that look like that, you can kind of fucking do whatever, and, like, the black outline lips, and she will be recognizable. Like, it is extremely strong. Same thing with him. Them? I don't actually know what the fuck their gender was. I think it's him. Like, that there is this very strong shape language in the way that the head transitions into the hair. Like, you have these convex, concave curves, sort of contrasting between one another. Intensely recognizable. I like the detail of the little spots under the eyes that sort of approximates the effect of makeup. Same thing with her. Like, the extremely strong nose that she's got going on. Like, the cross over the eyes thing. It is a bunch of very strong character designs. Maybe not so much Alastor, really. I feel like if you change the hair and the costuming, that character might be a little less recognizable relative to all the others. But, like, a lot of his recognizability is in the costuming. Okay. Right. I think I recognize a few of the names in here from other things. Although I couldn't tell you exactly where or what. I'll bet you money that at least one person from the animation workshop was involved in this. And we're gonna sit through the credits too. Like, they deserve that recognition. Thank you to each and every person who helped make this project happen. I never imagined when I started this pilot that it would become this grand or this realized. I cannot express the joy it has been to work with so many amazing talents from all over the connected world. To everyone who took this seriously as I did and followed me into this crazy, chaotic world, from the bottom of my heart, thank you all. Yeah. And the thing... Oh, wait, there's a post-credits thing. I guess Snake Guy isn't dead.
Now will you shoot me with your ray gun?
Okay, not exactly a banger. Animation is basically not so much a technical implement as the expression of the spirit behind it. To see that that spirit goes into your shooting must be your overriding ambition. Not wrong.
Such an insult. Let me know when you come up with something creative to call.
Yeah, as a piece of independent online animation for YouTube, this is an astonishing accomplishment in a lot of ways. Like, it genuinely is. The sheer amount of work, the sheer amount of human physical labor that it takes to create all of this is... all animation is a fucking miracle, right? All of it is like, the little itty-bitty tiny teeny bits of animation work I've done myself, right? The sheer amount of work that goes into it. It is an astonishing accomplishment to make something like this, something which is complete, right? I have all my fucking nitpicks and whatever, which don't matter. I could sit here all day like picking at things, though, that shit that wasn't properly set up, and like maybe this thing doesn't really, it's the character design all working together in a whatever. The one thing that I do want to emphasize about this is that this is a fucking miracle that something like this gets made. Like, I don't know how to explain to you how difficult it is to be producer on an animation production. I don't know how to explain to you how many moving parts, how many things have to work together, how many things have to go right for like a group of people this large to produce even 30 seconds of animation, let alone half an hour, right? It's... as an accomplishment of independent animation, this is genuinely astonishing. That they put it together, and like, again, I have all of my nitpicks, but like, they have all these voice actors, they have all this voice mixing, they have 3 original songs, like fully animated musical numbers as well, like, that are able to sort of seamlessly shift through like these different visual styles. Right? Like, messing around in like different musical styles, different visual expressions, and like fully coordinated musical numbers on screen. Again, the coordination of getting that shit right. Finding an animator who can even animate like this, like a shot like that of the characters doing like, is that Charleston or Jitterbug? Like, whatever it is. That's complicated animation to do. Like, I know it's a very brief shot and it doesn't look like that much, but like, if you don't know what you're looking for, but it's like there's so many things, like individual little accomplishments by the artist. Like, I focused a lot on that fucking background to the hotel, right?
Try to...
when the characters first enter. The compositing on that shot is very, very funny, but I do want to emphasize... this background is fucking amazing. Like, genuinely, I don't know if I would have picked that angle. I don't know if I would have, like, storyboarded it like that, me, personally. But the technical work on display here is like, holy fucking shit. Like, this is fully professional Disney Channel, like, level production quality. This is fully shit that could appear on Gravity Falls. This is fully shit that could appear in the Owl House. This is like... and so many places here, individual bits of work, even if like the whole of it is a little bit incohesive as different animators take over from different animators, even if like the aesthetics are kind of all over the place because different background artists are handling different parts of the backgrounds, individual parts of the work here are really fucking high grade. Like, extremely well done. I do want to emphasize that, because animation is hard. It's one of the hardest fucking things in the world to make next to video games. It's a collaborative discipline that requires the cooperation and coordination and just willingness to be jointly creative of so many people. And like, something like this 10 years ago, like not that long ago, something like this would have been physically impossible. Like, for the group of people who did this kind of thing, who did this thing, who put this thing together, it would have been physically impossible. The tools would not have existed. The networks that are necessary would not have existed. It would have been impossible, completely fucking physically impossible for something like this to get made. And that is genuinely miraculous. So, like, I don't think I get Hazbin Hotel yet. It hasn't charmed me quite. Like, there's a lot of the production, there's a lot of the aesthetic of it that I definitely understand why people zoomed in and hooked onto that. In terms of its story, concept, narrative, that's kind of all over the place for me. I don't really... I'm not sure what the show is trying to do. And that comes down partly to the thing about sin, right? That we discussed. That, like as we had the thing of, like, oh, alcohol, drinking is a sin, and fucking is a sin, and, like, okay, I wish that the pilot episode had been a little bit clearer about its concepts of what sin even is. Because if the thing that is so impossible, like, all the demons are laughing, oh my fucking god, you're trying to reform people down here, like, it would maybe be helpful if we had a clear concept of what are we trying to reform them from, right? And that's, I think I saw on Tumblr at some point someone talking about how Hazbin Hotel engages with sin in the A24 show. So I guess I'm curious to see how that sort of pans out. As I watch the first episode of the thing. But yeah, that genuinely deeply, deeply impressive for this crew to be able to put together something of this size and scope and length. Genuinely very impressive. Okay. It's taken me an hour and 45 minutes to get through a half-hour YouTube animation pilot. I should probably go to bed. But we'll check out the first episode of the Amazon show and see how things have changed. Because I am very curious.